Thank you for choosing to watch Fluency Routines for Basic Math Facts. My name is Amy Clark, and I am hosting this portion today. I'm a staff developer with the IU with initiative in MTSS Math and Behavior. So I love to talk with folks about all things related to math. So our learning outcome for this session is to review evidence-based routines for math facts when our students are at the fluency stage on the learning hierarchy. If you didn't get a chance to do the foundational piece of the math fluency, I'll just back up for a moment to briefly review the instructional hierarchy and the stages of learning. So when our students are learning something new, we say they are starting in the acquisition stage. The goal for that stage is for our students to learn how to complete the skill accurately and repeatedly without any assistance. Once they are doing that, they move to the fluency stage. The goal for students in the fluency stage is for them to keep that accuracy that they gained in the acquisition stage, but now they're going to try to work on increasing their speed. After fluency has been laid as a foundation, then they are able to generalize their learning and apply it to different settings and contexts and not get it confused with other skills. So, for example, if a student is able to do an addition fact vertically, in generalization, we would hope that that student would be able to do that same addition fact if it's written horizontally, or if perhaps the add-ins are switched in order, or if perhaps in the math fact we might have an add-in, let's say 5 plus, and then we have a blank square so that our students have to figure out what 5 plus blank is when that math fact equals 7. So that's some of the idea of what generalization looks like for our students. In the adaptation phase, our students have a goal of just continuing to apply what they've learned to problem solving and problem solving schema formats. And then overarching all of this learning hierarchy stages, we have the idea of maintenance, and that's really planned, purposeful practice that we space out over time so that no matter what the level of learning our students have acquired, they are able to keep that learning and they don't lose it. So that's just a very brief overview of the stages in the hierarchy. Our purposes today for this session will be to focus on routines that will help our students increase their speed with their basic math facts. One thing we do want to talk about is the critical pivot point of going from acquisition to fluency. If we allow our students to be in acquisition too long, they become dependent upon us. If we switch them too early, they become frustrated and give up. So the marker that we use to decide if our students are ready to move into fluency practice activities, we use the marker of 85 to 90% accuracy on a probe of some sort. So let's say you gave a 10 question fact practice on your addition fact 0 to 5. If your student were to score 90% or better, that student would be ready to do some timed activities or activities that allow for multiple responses to enable them to increase their speed. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time here talking about how we move students from acquisition to fluency, but what we are going to talk about are some of the things that we can use as tools when we know that our students are moving from acquisition to fluency and what those would look like and where we can find resources for those items. Specifically, we're going to talk about incremental rehearsal, cover, copy, compare, taped problems, and explicit timing. So we're going to begin with incremental rehearsal. This particular routine can be used one-on-one, or you can use this with small group intervention. We sometimes call this the sandwich sequence. And the reason we call it the sandwich sequence is because we are taking 9 facts that we know our students have automaticity with, and we're pairing it with one unknown fact. So in fluency, when we talk about automaticity, we're talking about students responding within a 2-second window once they see the fact. So this is a flashcard drill practice, and we would begin with an unknown fact, one that they're having difficulty with, and we would pair it with a known fact. After they've completed the unknown fact, and go to the known fact. Then we back up to the unknown fact and do 2 known facts. Then we back up again to the unknown fact and do 3 known facts. And I have a video that you can view here in just a moment that will enable you to understand that process a little bit easier. But as the educator working with the student, you want to follow these teacher tips. End with known facts. This helps students to walk away with confidence. Allow a 2-second wait time to determine if the fact is known or unknown. If the student is able to say it in 2 seconds, we would consider that a known fact. When you are working through a stack of 10 cards, 9 known facts and 1 unknown, during that session, you would only want to add 1 to 3 unknown facts. So we're really giving them an opportunity to experience a lot of success by plowing through those nine known facts with the automaticity they have. This sandwich sequence or incremental rehearsal can be used for all 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And you can usually plan for this to take about 8 to 12 minutes per session. Let's take a look at what this might look like.
All right, so today we're going to work on our math facts. I'm going to teach you a few math facts that you don't know yet, and then we're also going to practice math facts that you already know. Okay, so this first one, 5 times 9 is 45. Say that.
5 times 9 is 45.
Good, and every time you see this card, I want you to say the whole thing. 5 times 9 is 45. Okay, so go ahead.
5 times 9 is 45.
All right.
60.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45.
Yes.
60. 14. 5 times 9 is 45.
Good.
60. 14. 0.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45. 60. 14. 0. 15.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45. 60. 14. 0. 15. 10.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45. 60. 14. 0. 15. 10. 33.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45. 60. 14. 0. 15. 10. 33. 0.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45.
Yes.
60. 14. 0. 15. 10. 33. 0. 16.
Good. All right. So now we are going to learn another fact. So 8 times 3 is 24.
8 times 3 is 24.
Good. And every time you see this card, I want you to say 3 times 8 is 24.
3 times 8 is 24.
Good. Okay.
5 times 9 is 40.
Close. 5 times 9 is 45.
5 times 9 is 45.
Good. All right.
3 times 8 is 24.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45.
Good.
3 times 8 is 24.
Yes.
5 times 9 is 45.
Yes.
60.
Good.
3 times 8 is 24.
Yes.
5 times 9 is 45.
Good.
60. 14. 3 times 8 is 24. 5 times 9 is 45.
Good.
60, 14, 0. 24.
Oh, remember you want to say 3 times 8 is 24.
3 times 8 is 24.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45. 6 times 10 is 60.
Good.
14. 0. 15. 3 times 8 is 24.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45. 60. 14. 0. 15. 10.
Good.
3 times 8 is 24.
Good.
5 times 9 is 45.
Yes.
60. 14. 0. 15. 10. 33.
Good.
3 times 8 is 24. 5 times 9 is 45. 60. 14. 0. 15. 10. 33. 0.
Nice job. All right, so today we're going to work on our math facts. I'm going to teach you a few math facts.
So with incremental rehearsal, you could see that we were just adding one unknown fact at a time and working our way through 9 known facts. And we were doing the sequence in such a way that the student gets a lot of repetitive practice on the unknown fact. So if we begin to talk about cover, copy, compare next. In cover, copy, compare, we're working on building from accuracy to fluency. So with the implementation of cover, copy, compare, we would have our student look at the problem, then cover the problem up, copy the problem, compare it to see if they have the correct answer. If they have an incorrect answer, they would have the opportunity to correct it right on their worksheet. This particular routine is easy to implement at an independent workstation, and it allows the students to self-monitor their progression through the math facts. It is a worksheet form. It can be used for all 4 operations, and it can be done in a time frame of about 5 to 10 minutes. So to give you a better idea of what this looks like, let's watch the video.
All right, today we're going to use the method cover, copy, and compare to work on some multiplication facts that you need some additional help with, okay? So this is how you do cover, copy, compare. I've written down the math facts I want you to practice, okay? The first thing you do is cover them. So you're gonna fold the paper over to cover up the math fact, okay? Then I want you to study the math fact. 7 times 6 is 42. Okay, then you're going to cover it. Then you're going to copy it. 7 times 6 equals 42. Then you're going to compare. So you're going to open it back up, compare your facts, make sure they're correct. If they are, move on to the next one. If you did it incorrectly, I want you to try again. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Why don't you go ahead and you can start with number 2. Okay. Move on to the next one. Excellent work.
Next fluency routine I would like to talk to you about is taped problems. Again, this is good for one-on-one work or small group interventions. And to implement this process, the first thing that would need to be done would be to prepare a recording for the worksheet that you're going to use. A recommendation for you is to visit the website Mind by Brian Ponce. And on that website, you will find that there are pre-made worksheets with the recordings already completed. So the only reason you would really need to prepare your own recording is if you would want to differentiate the amount of time of delay that you're allowing between the problem being read and then the answer. So once you have your worksheet and your recording ready to go, the student would listen to the problem. There is a pause. The student would write their answer down onto the paper, and then the recording would provide the answer. And the student gets to track the number of times they beat the recording. So that goes a long way with their motivation because they are trying to beat the recording. So a tip for those of you working with the students, you would want to provide a sheet for them to track how many times they beat the recording. You might need to, as I said a little bit earlier, record the problems at different speeds depending on where your student is at. Perhaps if they are just have just acquired the skill, you might want to leave a longer delay of maybe 5 or 6 seconds. But then you want to really, in the next set of recordings, if you're going to use them again, try to move them to that 2 to 3 second delay of time. You can use this for individuals. You could put it and set it up as a center. And again, this is another one that can be used for all 4 operations. And you would want to allow about 5 to 10 minutes daily for this routine. In the video that you are about to watch to see this routine being implemented, it is taken from the website mathspiral.com, which is another place that you can get prepared worksheets. And I do have a website listed for you at the end that you can explore where you can get items already prepared and ready to go for these routines.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kate Berry from the University of Texas at Austin, and welcome to this Math Spiral video where we demonstrate one of our favorite fluency activities, taped problems. When we think about fluency, we're thinking about doing math in a way that's accurate and efficient. It takes stress off of students' working memory, builds their confidence, and makes every other part of math easier. And when we're thinking about fluency, we're thinking about something that's occurring daily and something that's brief, so 1 to 2 minutes. And taped problems are a great activity for you to implement in your classroom. Let's take a look. So here what we're going to want to do is create a worksheet with our taped problems. You can see here, you can choose 15 to 25 problems. We can see here that this problem has 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s. So you really want to make sure that you're being thoughtful about which problems you're selecting. Again, we can choose addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division cards. What you can do is you can tape yourself talking and reading the problem, pausing and answering. Another easier way to do this might just be that you read the problem or read the fact, pause for 5 seconds, and then say the answer. And the idea here is that students are writing the answer, in this case, the product, before you say it aloud. So I see my first problem is 6 times 5. So if I were to do this problem in my classroom, I would say 6 times 5. Then I would pause 5 seconds. 30. And the idea is that students are supposed to be writing 30 on their worksheet before you say 30 aloud. If students do not write 30 on their worksheet, they leave it blank. And what's great about this activity is you can collect it after you do your 15 to 20 problems or 15 to 25 problems, and you can see the problems that were left blank. And that would be an indication to you of the facts that your students need to practice. Maybe we really need to focus more more on our 7s and our 8s because those were the facts that were left blank. So let's try another example. If we were to work on 8 times 4, it would look like this. 8 times 4. 32. And the idea is that students would try to write 32 before you said it out loud. Now, if you want to, you can tape the problems, wait 5 seconds, and say the product or the difference or the sum. But an easier way to do this probably is to say it out loud in your classroom. But taped problems are one of our favorites. One reminder, just make sure that you are thoughtful about what problems you're using. So here you can see I don't have 0s or 1s or 10s or 11s. We really have 5 through 8 facts here. And that's because those are the skills that our students are working on specifically. Thanks so much for taking the opportunity to view this math spiral video where we talked about taped.
Our final fluency routine for our session today is explicit timing, and this can be used with small groups or class-wide interventions. This is a 5-step student routine. You want to explain the why behind giving the timed practice, that you are working in the fluency stage. You want to increase their automaticity so that it can offload their working memory and they have space in their minds to be able to comprehend more complex math problems later on down the road. You want to set the stage and be excited about the time and encourage them to beat their score that they had previously had on the activity that you're going to be doing. The exercise should really only be about 1 minute. So we would have on the front side of a paper, let's say we have 40 addition facts. On the back side of the paper, we would have either the same 40 addition facts or a set of facts very similar to what the front would be. So we've set the stage, we've given the directions, we've talked about how the student should work horizontally across the problems, not skipping around. We do the 1 minute timer, they're completing. We are giving them an opportunity to check their answers and record their score on their paper. And then we're going to ask them to turn the paper over, and they are going to then repeat the 1 minute timed event, checking, recording progress. And we really want to focus as the educator on modeling the flow of how you work horizontally, not skipping around. We really want to celebrate the growth that they have. We want to keep it light. We want in no way to use these timed activities as part of a graded assessment. And we want to be consistent that we're doing them daily. And the whole process should take about 5 to 10 minutes for you to work on. So let's view a video on what explicit timing looks like.
All right, fluency sprint. Do not turn them over, don't look. Fluency sprints is a number sense routine to help build fluency with basic computational skills. Ever since the pandemic, students struggle to do addition, subtraction in the middle of a multi-step problem, and it's bogging them down. So step 1, I pass out the fluency sprint face down. Once I start the timer, they flip their papers over and they begin solving. Each fluency sprint has anywhere from 30 to 45 problems. I look at it like working out. The more you get those reps in, the better you're going to get. Thumbs up. Put pencils down. Once the timer goes off, I put an answer key on the board. They self-check, and then I ask them to calculate the percentage that they got correct out of the number attempted. It's not about getting every single problem done. It's about doing what you can well. It builds confidence, activates prior knowledge, and gives them more exposure to computational problems.
So as we begin to wrap up this session, I just wanted to share with you this resource that you can find on the Mind website. And you can see that we have incremental rehearsal, that flashcard drill here at the bottom, cover, copy, compare, taped problems, and explicit timing. And along with those, we have that understanding of what kind of accuracy we are looking for with each particular routine. So what these drills, these routines will help us to do, we're going to help our students moving them from procedural things that they might do, counting on fingers or drawing pictures, to that level of automaticity where they can just declare what the answer to the fact problem is. So along with this information on the Mind site, we also have a look at what the scope and sequence looks like by grade level and target skill. And then the other resource that you will be able to find on that website are the markers for how many digits correct per minute your students would be wanting to shoot for in order to gain mastery or automaticity. So thank you so much for listening in today about math fact fluency and what routines we can use. And just to leave you with something to think about and explore, some questions you might want to ponder after viewing this. What fluency routines that you viewed today in the session might work best in your setting with your students? And if you choose one of those routines, what resources might you need to make those routines happen? And I wanted to just leave you with this website so that you might be able to find some of those resources that could help you make these routines happen. So if you need to, you can pause the video and go ahead and pull that website up to finish your time exploring on that site. In the meantime, my name is Amy Clark, and I would be happy to have you reach out for any additional help that I can bring to you and your students in the area of math fact fluency or anything else math related. Thank you so much.